Hello everybody, welcome back to Mind Llama. Today we're back in one of my favorite games, Kerbal Space Program, and this video kind of is two things, right? It's to show off a rocket that I made, but that's not really the main part of the video. The main part of the video is almost on how to use Mech Jeb. Now it's not going to go over every feature and everything, just how you land the rocket booster, and how you can also use it to get to a space station, or like dock or something. And you can use it for a lot of other things, like landing on planets and getting intercepts with those planets. But that's not in today's video. Today's video is just getting to orbit, getting to a space station, docking, and also landing a booster. So let's go ahead and start. Of course, make sure our staging is in order. Okay, and then if you have the Mech Jeb part on your rocket, like I do here on this first stage, then you'll get this Mech Jeb window. Okay, and for an orbit, you're going to want to do ascent guidance. So you're going to click that, and another window is going to pop up. Okay, so the easiest way I found to do this is the stock style gravity turn. See, they have three different ones. They have classic ascent profile, they have the stock style, and the primary vector guidance. I don't know what this one or this one are, so that's why I just stick with the stock style. Okay, so guidance, you're going to want to have your turn start altitude. I have mine at 1 kilometer. That's when it gets to that height, it's going to start turning, but it also has to meet the turn start velocity, which I have as 150 meters per second. It's going to change a little bit with each rocket, so experiment a little. Turn start pitch, I didn't change that. It was just at 25 degrees. Now, the intermediate altitude, I don't quite know what that's for. I've messed with it a little, and I always just end up putting it at my apoapsis because I really don't know what it's for, and it works that way. Okay, now for the target. Oh, and also apoapsis hold time, I have that at 0 seconds. So orbital altitude, we're going to have that at, for this flight, I think we're going to do 85 kilometers. That's just like how high your orbit is generally going to be. An orbit inclination, if you want to go in your normal orbit around the equator, then just have that at 0 degrees. 90 degrees is a polar orbit, and 180 degrees is a reverse equator orbit. So you can set that to whatever you want, but I'm going to have it at 0. Okay, so now if we turn on options, we get this big window. I would leave all of this off unless you need it. Force roll, you don't really need that. I've not really messed with that. Auto stage, make sure that's on. Experiment with these. That's just the best way to learn this, is experiment with them. Turn on auto warp, that's always nice. Make sure skip circularization is off. Other than that, I would experiment with some of these, but let's turn off options and turn target back on. So since I'm launching to a space station, I'm going to go now to the map screen, and I'm going to find my station, which is one. I don't know why they're also displays. I think my game is glitching, but okay, set the station as the target, which I have the small station. So now here's what you want to do. You're going to click launch to rendezvous, and it's going to tell you how long until it launches. And then if you click engage autopilot, it's going to time warp for you until you need to launch. And as long as you keep the autopilot on, it'll cancel the time warp 11 seconds before, because you have the launch countdown at 11 seconds. And then it's going to just watch. I'm not going to touch the keyboard. You're just going to have to trust me. But you can see right here. 3, 2, 1. That was a little loud. Okay. And then it's going to fly it for you. I am not touching the keyboard right now. I know you can't see that. But see, autopilot status, vertical ascent. I can put down the map ball. And see, it's flying it for us. And it just started tilting because we just passed 150 meters per second, and we were already above 1 kilometer, which were our 2 wants for the mission for the ascent profile. And now if we go down here and just select maneuver mode, we can see our apoapsis and periapsis height. So I like to keep that up just to make sure it's doing what it needs to, and you can monitor that, make sure you don't need to abort the flight. Also, another thing, you can physical time warp, and it won't mess it up. It's really nice. Okay, so now it's going to be fine-tuning our altitude. I'm going to turn off time warp. Okay, so it's coasting to the edge of the atmosphere. And if you look, our apoapsis is just above 85 kilometers. So it's 85.05, and there it goes. It's gonna release our fairing now, and I'm gonna press 1 to put out the solar panels on our crew vehicle. And I'm also just gonna make sure that that's, yeah, I don't think that's gonna, yep, there we go. Just wanted to make sure it's not gonna hit the fairing. I need to turn the ejection force up on that, but for now it's okay. Okay, oh, and also when it time warps it gets rid of them, so. Okay, it's gonna launch any second now. Oh, light the engines, I mean, yep, there we go. Also, switch to camera view, and here is, I always like that view, it kind of looks like they're almost an X-Wing or something. Okay, and also you can see our periaxis. And look at that. And I know our apoapsis isn't quite at 85, but it is, I think our mid-turn is like at 85. Anyways, so we now have 950 meters per second left in this booster, and that's going to be just enough to land. So I'm going to exit out this, and I'm actually going to stage now, since we do need fuel to land our booster. And now let's go ahead and fly our spacecraft. So, for the spacecraft, we're going to open Mech Jeb again. We're going to get Rendezvous Autopilot. Okay, and now let's just really quickly activate our engines so that it'll allow Mech Jeb to use those. And then we have to select our target again. There are so many planes. Okay, set the small station as the target. And then, so, desired final distance, I just have it at 100 meters. Max number of phasing orbits, it auto sets it to 5. I put it at 20 just to save a little bit of fuel. And max closing velocity, 300 meters per second. I'm pretty sure it autos to 100, but that's just too slow for me. And then auto warp, I have that on, so we can go ahead and engage autopilot. And I'll tell you what it's doing here. So now it's going to match the planes of the orbit. And it actually makes the maneuvers, which is really nice because you can see how much fuel it's going to use. And let's just go ahead and use this view for now. As you can see, it's burning. Okay, and now see it says next intercept window would be 23.8 orbits away, which is more than the maximum of 20 phasing orbits, increasing phasing rate by establishing a new phasing orbit and it'll tell you the altitude. I'm just going to let that go because that works for me. I got plenty of fuel on this rocket, so it's not going to like burn itself out, because I've had that happen before. Okay. I don't know why it stopped. And I'm just going to make it. Sometimes you got to give it a little push in the right direction. The program gets a little confused on what it's trying to do. Okay. It's just going to line itself up. And then, there we go. And now you can see our next node is in 1 day and 2 hours. And this thing is really slow with its time warp. Okay, so it's going to auto warp, but it's only going to go up to 50. So I'm just going to make it go faster. See, yeah. Let's make it go 1,000. And it'll auto cancel the warp when it needs to. So now we get to see it go around and around. I'll put it back down to where it wanted it, just so it doesn't mess it up. Okay, here we go. So now it's canceled out the time warp, which is weird because it still has 9 minutes until it needs to burn. So I'm just gonna warp for it like this. Oh, and see, now it's gonna warp by itself. Okay, and as you can see, now it's gonna cancel its warp. And it's going to burn in like really soon, like right now. There we go. you can see, it's getting closer and closer to the target. And look, it's gonna get us like almost exactly within 100 meters of the station, like we told it to. Okay. And there's the final burn, and it went a little closer than 100 meters, but like, I don't know. It's still pretty precise. And there, it just disengaged the autopilot. So now, one last piece, we're gonna turn that off. Okay. And actually, we're a little far away from the station to the next part, so I'm gonna do it myself. Turn our CS on, point towards the target, and we're gonna get a little closer. Just so that we can turn in that docking port. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to show off the docking part of Mech Jeb. Let me just stop this. Okay. Mech Jeb. And we're going to go... Where's it? Docking autopilot. Right there. Okay. So two things you need to do before you even turn it on is set the target docking port as your target, and then also you need to go to your docking port on your spaceship and click control from here, and then it'll tell you to do that as well with yellow text in the box. So now what we need to do, don't click the autopilot enabled yet. So if you do the draw bounding box, it just shows like that's where things are, but it really lags out my computer, so I'm going to turn that off. All you need to do is you can force the roll if you want, and then make sure you set your speed limit. I have mine to 1 meter per second, and then you can just turn on your autopilot. It's gonna do everything. It's crazy. And here we go. About to dock. I'm gonna set this now to 0. And so that way it's just gonna slow itself down and not ram into the station quite as hard. And it just looks so majestic just coming up like that. We can turn on the lights. And there we go. This is going to climb right up. And it's docked. Okay, so while the Kerbals are getting set into the space station, let's go ahead and go to our booster that brought us up into space, which is... That's not it. Right there. Okay, so first thing we want to do, well, with this booster, is we're going to inflate the heat shield. Okay? Also, make sure you are controlling from the probe core. Just to make sure. Okay. Now we're going to open Mech Jeb, and we're going to select landing guidance. Just move that over here, and we can close that. Okay, so now you can either pick a target on the map, and it's going to bring you to the map screen and give you this handy little thing. You can pick literally anywhere on the globe, and it'll try and land there. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to pick a target, which is going to be the launch pad. So we're going to set that as our target. As you can see, it puts the coordinates in. And then all we do is, make sure auto warp is on, and deploy landing gear, and also parachutes if you have those on there. I don't have any RCS on this, so I don't really need to do that. And also, I like to show the landing predictions, and that's going to show aero brake node's trajectory and world trajectory. And also, this just shows like a red line of where you're going to go. I don't care for that to be on. Okay, and now we're going to land at target. So see, orbit does not re-enter. So it's going to do a deorbit burn. Okay, so we've hit the atmosphere now. So yeah, I guess we're just going to kind of watch, and I'll talk you through what's going on. I do apologize, however, though, it looks like we're landing on the... Yep, we're going to be landing on the dark side of the planet. Okay, and I'm going to physical time warp just until we get to the interesting part. Okay, now we're starting to get something like re-entry heating, and that's what we want, because that means it's starting to get warm in here. Also, one thing I like about this, it's going to show how much delta V you need to land, which is looking around to be 300. So right there, you can see that white light. That is the Kerbal Space Center. And you can see it's turning into more white lights. Let's really quickly look at the map. You can see the red and the blue. The red is from the drag, and the blue is just where it would be. Should see quick puff, hopefully, come from the engines. Or not. Looks like it's just gonna let drag do its thing. And it's gonna land in the water, it looks like. Dang it. That's okay. Oh. What's it doing now? Looks like it's making itself actually gonna land on the land. Yeah. Okay. It's still saying shores though. But yeah, it's landing in the water. There go the landing legs, and the engines will light here any second. There we are. And it slows it down right to the landing speed I set it at, which was 0.5 meters per second. And if we look right here, slows it down. Touchdown. So that, and it lands in the water. Now I'm going to recover it before it tips. Yep. Recovered it before it tipped over and broke itself, because that's what happens when it lands in the water, is it'll pop. And yeah, for now I'm out of time, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.